Good evening and thank you for joining us for Tuesday's edition of Primetime News. I'm Michael Madimba. We apologize for the intermission in Primetime News. We are nevertheless glad to be back. As we always call upon you, if it's your first time joining us, please subscribe, press the like button, and be sure to click on the bell icon to stay updated with the latest in local and global news. We commence the bulletin with the presidency, where Head of State Dr. Hage Geingob says if whole-scale poverty is addressed, many Namibians would not be demanding ownership of agricultural land.
The Namibian Head of State made these remarks this weekend during an interview with Qatari-based media network Al Jazeera, which covered many issues including land and the recent oil discoveries in Namibia. At the heart of the interview was the land question. At present, about 90% of the productive land is in the hands of previously advantaged Namibians. Geingob said land doesn't immediately solve problems. President Robert Mugabe grabbed the land. Was it the solution? Geingob asked, adding that land is being returned to some of the whites. According to Geingob, the clause which protects property has hamstrung government's efforts to redistribute land. He conceded that government's resettlement program has not yielded the desired outcomes. Asked how the discovery of oil would help transform Namibia's teetering economy, Geingob took a wait-and-see approach. He said, firstly, it's not government's oil. Money is going out to those who discovered it, but Namibia would get royalties and so on. Reporting for Nampa News, I am Sawi Hausiko.
Now, in a boost for youth employment, 300 Namibian young adults are said to benefit from a pilot project in charcoal production by the Ministry of Sport, Youth and National Service. Sawi Hausiko compiled this report from the Kavango East region.
Deputy Minister of Sport, Youth and National Service, Emma Kantema Gomez, told the Namibia Press Agency on Monday the initiative was launched in 2020 with 55 youth, but did not take off due to the COVID-19 pandemic. She said they want to continue with that program, but with more youth. She added that the project is the result of the Youth Ministry, along with the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and SME Development, identifying opportunities that contribute to youth self-employment in the agriculture sector. The pilot phase will create employment opportunities for the 300 youth who will undergo two types of training, namely civic training to instill discipline, a sense of responsibility and ownership, as well as harvesting charcoal and charcoal making. Kantema Gomez also said commercializing the biomass resource for charcoal production provides great opportunities for the Namibian youth, noting that it will speak directly to youth empowerment, employment creation objectives, and diversification of economic activities. The project will be launched in early April 2022 at Farm Gemsbokpan at Rietfontein and at the John Pandeni Agricultural Centre in Grootfontein. Selima Shimwefeleni reporting for Nampa News.
On to news from beyond our borders. The United Nations and United States on Monday urged the leaders of South Sudan to do more to prepare for elections due to be conducted in less than a year or risk a catastrophe. AFP gives us more insight.
The UN envoy for South Sudan, Nicholas Haysom, told the Security Council, as he stated before, elections have the potential to be a nation-building moment or a catastrophe. He stated that much depends on the political will and leadership of the South Sudanese working together. The US ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, said that in order to work towards a true democracy, the South Sudanese government needed to move swiftly to implement the provisions set out in an agreement on revitalizing the peace process, adding that means an inclusive constitutional drafting process, public financial management reform, transitional security arrangements, and transitional justice mechanisms. Thomas Greenfield explained that unfortunately, the government of South Sudan is behind in meeting key electoral benchmarks set out in the agreement. With the Security Council decision expected on the 15th of March on renewing the peacekeeping mission in South Sudan for a year, one of the most expensive on the UN books, with an annual budget exceeding $1 billion, Haysom pleaded for the deployment to remain at current levels of 17,000 troops and 2,100 police.
On to the Ukraine-Russia conflict, where United Nations Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths told the Security Council on Monday that humanitarian's top priorities are allowing civilians to leave areas under fire in Ukraine and getting desperately needed aid to those areas. Xinhua brings us more.
Together with Catherine Russell, head of the United Nations Children's Fund, Griffiths briefed the Council on how the United Nations and partners are responding to rising needs since the Russian military operation began. Griffiths, also the United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator, outlined 3 immediate humanitarian priorities. First, parties must take constant care to ensure military operations spare civilians, homes, and other infrastructure. Second, people wanting to leave areas of active hostility must be allowed to do so safely and voluntarily. Third, a constant communication system with the parties to support aid delivery is urgently needed. A team from his office has been sent to Moscow to work on better humanitarian civil-military coordination following a phone call on Friday between United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres and Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu. A first technical meeting with ministry representatives has also been held. Over the past few days, the World Food Programme has set up supply chain operations to deliver immediate food and cash assistance up to 5 million people inside Ukraine. The World Health Organization has sent trauma care, emergency surgery equipment, and other supplies. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees is assisting people who have crossed into neighboring countries.
In the Primetime Biz segment tonight, we begin locally. The Namibia Revenue Agency NAMRA on Monday announced that it will host an award ceremony next month to recognize compliant taxpayers and traders in various categories. From the Ironga region, Isabel Bento compiled this report.
NAMRA Chief Strategic Communications and Support Engagement Manager Stephen Jarekathe in a media statement said the event set for the 7th of April coincides with NAMRA's first anniversary and is expected to promote voluntary compliance and enhance tax morale by celebrating taxpayers and traders fulfilling their respective obligations. With regards to taxpayers, the awards will be based on compliance for the period covering 1st of January to 31st of December 2021, while for companies and close corporations, the financial year ended would be any month from January to December 2021. Jarekathe explained that it must be noted that although regards will only be given to tax payments during the award period, considerations for the submission of returns shall apply to all returns ever since the registration of a particular tax account by the taxpayer. Compliant traders participating in the Authorized Economic Operators Compliance Preferred Trader Program will also be recognized on the day. The program is part of the Customs Modernization Drive, and although participation is voluntary, NAMRA encourages traders to be part of the initiative and utilize the related benefits. He further said additional categories will be considered for the awards.
Moving on to European business news. President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, on Monday noted that the European Union is looking at ways to reduce its dependency on Russian gas, oil and coal. Let's get to know why from Xinhua.
To this end, the EU will accelerate its Green Deal, a roadmap for making EU's economy sustainable, von der Leyen said when meeting with the Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi. She said the EU will work on improving its energy efficiency. As to the protection of consumers from the price spike amid the COVID-19 pandemic, the Russian-Ukraine conflict, the president said, in the long term, the EU will also have to look at its energy market composition, especially as renewables are said to represent a bigger share in the future.
Stay tuned for the economics roundup, followed by the weather forecast. The Ukraine-Russia tensions dominate our sports segment tonight. Reports indicate that Ukraine's World Cup playoff against Scotland later this month has been postponed following Russia's invasion of the country. Let's get some perspective from AFP.
Ukraine were set to face Scotland at Hampden Park on the 24th of March in a playoff semi-final, but the visitors had asked FIFA to delay the game, the BBC said. The playoff final against either Wales or Austria for a ticket to Qatar will now also reportedly be pushed back. Discussions are underway for a new date, the BBC reported, with the Nations League window in June the most likely option. The World Cup takes place in Qatar from the 21st of November to the 18th of December.
Now, Russian gymnast Ivan Kulyak says he has no regrets over wearing a symbol in support of the invasion of Ukraine on the podium following a World Cup event in Doha on Saturday. Kulyak attached a letter Z to his chest before receiving his bronze medal in the parallel bars, an event won by Ukraine's Ilya Kovtun. The letter has been seen plastered on the sides of Russian tanks and has come to be regarded as a sign of support for the invasion. DPA brings us this report.
The 20-year-old's move was condemned as a shocking behavior by the International Gymnastics Federation, which has asked its Gymnastics Ethics Foundation to launch an investigation. But Kulyak, who faces the prospects of a lengthy ban, was unrepentant today, telling Russia Today, "If there was a second chance and I had a choice whether to go out with the letter Z on my chest or not, I would do the same. I saw it on our military and looked at what this symbol means. It turned out to be for victory and for peace. I just wanted to show my position. As an athlete, I will always fight for victory and play for peace." Prior to the event in Doha, the International Gymnastics Federation had announced that all Russian gymnasts and officials would be banned from international events from the 7th of March until further notice, in line with the global sporting sanctions against the country.
Stay tuned for the Sports Roundup. With the Sport Planet segment, we've come to the end of tonight's edition of Primetime News. Many thanks for joining us. Another parting reminder that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, share and click on the notifications bell to stay posted on the latest happenings locally and internationally. Do feel free to add your comments as well in the comment section. Catch us on the morrow for the midweek edition of Primetime News. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's bulletin. From myself, Michael Madimba, and the entire production crew, it's good night.